I want to thank our crowd was fan. I know Buffalo travels very well, but challenge ours is that the vision that I have, Shad has, and there's a lot of reasons why our guys play so hard. And number one is the city of Jacksonville, and then also our owner. And to see that locker room, to see our stadium, even though Buffalo, I give credit, Buffalo's a great organization, great players, and to travel like that. But really appreciate our fans pumping them up. And I pulled that set off a couple times on those third downs, and they were great. Our fans were great. I answer your questions.
Hey Urban, can you describe your pass rush today and what this win means for you guys?
Well, Josh, someone said Josh the last few weeks. Josh has been really that all year, but he hasn't had the help inside. We have not had that penalty. So I thought Roy was hurt a few weeks. Tate and Brian came in and did a heck of a job. Alex Alex and Adam Gotsis, I'm sorry. And Jihad Ward gave great penetration inside. And that forced the quarterback, a lot of those sacks you saw when he was scrambling away from the interior pressure. So really it's a combination of both, but those guys are great. And but the interior pressure really set up a lot of things.
Urban, overall, you've had games where you're giving up 20 points plus. Now you go out there and have that kind of performance. Did you see something in practice this week that led you to believe that this was coming?
Well, we transitioned to bye week, did show out in Seattle. It actually did. We held them to 220 total yards, Seattle, and 60 in the second half. We transitioned a little bit, and Joe Cullen and his staff did a really good job. We really believe we're going to be a man coverage team, and we had to adapt. And we're now a pretty good zone coverage team because of the hard work the coaches and players put in, and a lot of that was zone coverage today.
Reggie.
Urban, could you just talk about the scene in the locker room afterwards, what that was like? Because you described previous celebration scenes when you were at Florida. What was the one like today?
Also, you hope to get more accustomed to winning, which I believe we will. But that's a very, I think Shad said at one time, there's a perception of Jacksonville, there's a perception of his team, of the locker room this, locker room that. That's a great locker room. I've been saying that all year long. We've had some close games, they stuck together, and you just be one of the best teams in the NFL. So I'll fight for that locker room. I believe in that locker room, and if someone has something negative to say about that locker room, they're incorrect.
Could you be more specific about the scene in the locker room in the postgame?
I'll get you a video, Gene.
I'd rather the players can tell you about it. Should have the spokesman, Shaq, talk about it. It was what you think, a bunch of guys enjoying each other and a big win.
Urban, if you could, if you could just elaborate on number one, Matthew Wright's performance. Obviously, both of the scoring, the entire scoring was all field goals, and then then he missed the 3, and then also he, I know, is still taking kickoffs. Logan Cook previously took kickoffs. If you could just also clarify why Matt was taking them.
Yeah, Matt. Obviously, we had that one where we missed one, and missed 3 on one shot because of the penalties, etc. But we have a lot of confidence. Our players do. Our players love him. 55. I think he had a 55-yarder today. I had all the scores. He's part of our team now. I made the comment after London, most people didn't know who he was. Now he's a big part of this team. They enjoy him. But our punter was getting a little bit up. It's just such a different. I've had that happen to punter before. That's an injury waiting to happen if you have your punter kick off too many times. So Matt did a pretty good job. Our kickoff coverage unit wasn't very good today, so we got to get that finished.
Yeah, Coach, it wasn't lights out stats for the offense, but did Carlos and then Jamal on that one play, did those guys give you kind of what you were looking for in the running game? I think there was one call back, there was a penalty, but did you feel like they did a good enough job?
No, I felt our running game really was, you look at statistically, they did very good. Right before the game, Cam in pregame warm-up, Cam Robinson back locked up on him. And I really thought James Robinson was going to play up until this morning. When we took him out of the field, he just didn't feel that we should have him back next week. But Walker Little came in and against the top defense in the NFL and really hung in there. I thought Bev, and I was involved in that too, that we wanted to do certain things, but the way our defense is playing, we're not going to screw around. And I was disappointed down in the red zone. You get down there, we get paid to score touchdowns, not field goals. I remind everybody that we got to do better. But it was at times conservative because of the way our defense was keeping Buffalo intact.
and one more thing you've been telling us, I think since training camp, that Rudy Ford's not just a special teams player.
No, he's a
so
great player.
I guess we should believe you now.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's, it's hard to, when you watch him play, he's one of our better players, and I know he hasn't got many opportunities in the NFL. He's a hell of a player.
Herman, how good is it to put together 2 full halves, complete football games?
Well, it's complementary football, and that's kind of what we talked about in our last night's meeting was all we do is our video guy does a nice job putting together, and it's just, all we ask these players to be the best version of themselves, and if they are, they're pretty good. If they're not, they're awful. And we saw that last week. That was awful last week. It's not bad players, no one ever said that. But the best version of ourselves is pretty good. The first half against Cincinnati, at one point you're beating a really good Cardinal team 19-10. You hold Seattle to 60 yards offense in the second half, so the best version of yourself is pretty good. And they kind of bit into it and believed it, and they had a good day today.
Makes you feel like it's going in the right
Oh,
direction?
yeah, absolutely. I just get so upset about last week because I really felt the momentum coming, and you can see the way they played early in the year compared to the way they're playing now. It's not even close. Just last week, we got to move on. We just got to get ready for Indy now.
Getting that win in front of a Jacksonville crowd, how does that just feel for you personally? Because I know, Jacksonville and its fans is something you talk about a lot.
All the time, and our players talk about it all the time. And we have a vision, and we're building a brand new facility. We want to make this a destination spot. Our owner wants to make Jacksonville one of the top cities in the United States of America, which we already believe there's a lot of positives about Jacksonville, but a great football team really helps in developing this whole area. It's one of the most beautiful areas in the United States of America with great people.
Let's take a couple more.
Urban, what does it say about your team over here? All right, when you make mistakes the way you guys did with the drops and Matt Wright, but you're still able to overcome that and win a game, does that show that the build is starting?
Well, the great defense piece is what saves the day. And we were hoping we'd have a great defense earlier in the year, and at times we didn't play great defense. But the last few games now, our defense has hung in there and done a heck of a job. And when you have injuries on offense, you have a young quarterback, you have this, you have that. Great defense is how you win games, and you complement each other. And I thought today was a perfect example of that.
What happened with Trevor, and how is his ankle?
Low ankle sprain. They took him in for an x-ray. He's coming here in a minute, but he's ready to fight me when I want to let him in. So I had to remind him I'm still a coach.
How far did your heart drop, though, when he's down there on the ground?
Just like everyone in that stadium. I imagine even the Buffalo crowd, because you don't see that to a young player. But he came back, and I thought CJ, how about CJ? He practices, and with Trevor, he gets most of the reps. Just because he's young, you don't give him any to CJ. I'm really proud. He's a pro's pro.
Last one?
Right over here, Urban. I wanted to kind of piggyback off of what he was asking because, you had the touchdown, of course, it was taken away because the ball bounced off the receiver in the end zone, and of course you had the fumble. You give the ball back to Buffalo. So how do you keep that how do you keep the spirits up as you go into halftime? And it's 6-6 at that point, but how do you
I didn't say much. The players did. We got some pretty good leaders developing in this locker room right now, and they're a little bit of us against the world mentality, which I like. I like the fact that when you have good leaders, coaches can say all you want, but those leaders stuck together, and I just felt a real confident defense that entire day out there. I saw them coming off the field talking to them, and they were very confident. You're talking about the #1 offense in the NFL. Thank you.
Guys, we could Trevor's coming in.
Thanks.